Today I'm talking about 10 kitchen essentials that are gonna make your life easier. Hey friends, I'm Victoria and I'm the cruise director here at Fortuna Cucina. Welcome to my kitchen. Every week I talk about something yummy to eat, yummy to drink, all of those things. And today I thought it would be fun to talk about the kitchen tools that I use that make my life easier, because sometimes we just need to know the how of how to do it. And it's really difficult to compare to someone who's super efficient when you have like dull knives or you don't have the same kind of thingies that they have. So today I'm gonna take you through all of my favorites, and I'm gonna give you a couple bonus ones too that you are not going to believe. So starting with the first one. All right, so before we start with our first item, I wanted to share with you what the tea of the month is for August. Fortuna Cucina has a couple different segments, one of which is I create amazing tea from scratch. I don't use any natural flavors. I just use the ingredients from Mother Nature. So our tea of the month this month is black lavender tea. And this is organic Darjeeling tea and organic lavender. And while we're talking, I'm just gonna brew this for a minute. And isn't this a cool little carafe? I'll put a link to this below as well. Okay, that's enough. So we're gonna make ourselves some iced tea for our chat together. Here we go. These are my favorites, wooden cooking spoons. I'm gonna put a link below to Amazon, and this is one of my favorite sets from them. So it has a spatula, it has this other thing. I like to have a lot of surface area here because then you can scrape the bottom of your pan, or if you need to get up under that piece of chicken, you can do that. You can't do that with this. It's just not very efficient. So yes, this is great if you're stirring the soup, but you need many times this that will get more surface area on the bottom of your pan. So I have two sets that I've purchased from Amazon. This one is olive wood. I really like it. And again, see how this one has the edge here? That means you can scrape the side of the pan and really get in that crevice. So this one is a must. And while we're on the topic, you need wood ladles. So I have been doing research on lots of different cooking instruments. And let me tell you, wood is one of the safest things that you can incorporate into your kitchen. And let me tell you why. So before I do that, I'm gonna go to number 2 and I'll demonstrate. And this is clean, it's just dirty, okay? So good quality cutting boards and wood cutting boards are on my list as well. There was a study that was found that people who use plastic cutting boards were actually getting microplastics in their food every time they ate. Gross. Okay, the next thing I can't live without is a Dutch oven. Now, I was having a conversation with someone about this, and they were saying they didn't see the point of a Dutch oven. Well, let me tell you, that's enamel covered cast iron. So it cooks extraordinarily even and cooks well and retains all of the heat. So when you're looking at a Dutch oven, it's good for things like if you're gonna cook a whole chicken, if you're gonna cook soup, if you're gonna cook any number of things. If you're gonna do big pasta dish, you could put it in there and put the lid on. I found it's a really efficient item, and I keep grabbing this same guy and using it. So I have a 4.5 quart and a 5.5 quart Le Creuset. And I have to say that Le Creuset is really one of the best items out there on the market. And I was watching something from America's Test Kitchen, I believe, a video where they were saying that Le Creuset was the #1 enamel covered cast iron Dutch oven, which is great, but they're kind of pricey. So I would do two things. One, if you're looking for an enamel covered cast iron like this Dutch oven here, I would look at Costco first of all. Last year they had a screaming deal, and it went on sale, on sale, on sale. And it was a huge 8-quart Dutch oven. I bought an extra one, and I'm gonna be doing a giveaway soon and giving away some of my favorite things. but my hubby ended up buying me not one but two because it was such a great price. Look at Costco, they can have some great deals, but my other alternative is Lodge, is a solid brand that has cast iron. And you can get an enamel covered cast iron Dutch oven from them for about, I think it's about 50 bucks. And I'm gonna include my link from Amazon. The next thing you need are high quality pans. And I can't tell you guys how many crappy pans I've been through in my lifetime. Pans that like maybe they warp or they've got a hot spot, or God forbid you get something that's like one of those nonstick pans. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, I have. The glazing inside the pan starts flaking. No sir. No sir, that is bad news. So I love made-in pans. I've been purchasing them for years. And this one is a 12-inch fry pan, and it can do everything I need it to do. Make sure you're purchasing the highest quality you can afford. I've also found that people like the concept of nonstick, but they don't like the fact that nonstick is basically toxic. So then they're trying all these other things. Oh, ceramic pans, oh, this and that. Like, okay, let's just like make it really simple. That pan is the easiest pan I've worked with ever. And it's just a metal pan. However, it's super high quality. By the way, in case you guys don't know, I have a cooking club that launched in August. We're going to be making some delicious things. So you get tutorials and 4 recipes from me throughout the month. And then at the last week of the month, we are making a dish together over Zoom. And this month it's going to be a restaurant quality steak with herb compound butter. Yum. And so we're gonna be making that at home from scratch. So my next item is a cooking thermometer. You need a cooking thermometer to tell when your meat is done. Now, I went without a cooking thermometer for a very long time, and let me tell you, this thing is super handy dandy. This one has a magnet on the back so that when you're ready, you cleaned it, it's boom, it's gonna stick on the side of the microwave, and I think it's really handy that I have it there. For this one, it does light up and it tells you the temperature. And what's really funny is, I don't know if you've seen the guy on YouTube, he'll say, I'm making something, don't F it up, right? I've found a good way to not F it up is to actually check the internal temperature, especially if we're talking about meat. So get yourself a meat thermometer. I think this bad boy was only $10. I put the link below. The next thing you need are high quality knives. Now let me tell you, this is probably one of the most important investments you're ever gonna make in your kitchen, is having high quality knives. My husband bought me these, I believe, the first year we were married. These are Wusthof, and I don't know if you can see, like, it has the name here, but that used to be in red, but that's all worn off. That I use these every day. I have this chef's knife, and I have another knife that's similar in size, and then I have a paring knife and a bread knife. But I linked from Amazon, there is a set that's a chef's knife and a paring knife, and I think it was $150. It's a little bit, you know, people are like, oh, it's 150 bucks for one knife. But let me tell you, you need to have sharp knives if you are going to be efficient in the kitchen, especially if you have dull knives. You'll be like, why is this taking me so long? It's taking you a long time and a lot of manpower because your knives are not sharp. And a tip for you, either Williams-Sonoma or Sur La Table, they are great places to have your knives sharpened. And I would go in and ask if they do knife sharpening and if it's complimentary. So I think the last place I had my knife sharpened was Sur La Table. And we went there on a Sunday. It was close to a restaurant we were going to anyway. Otherwise it would have been a 40-minute drive. But they did it for free and they did it within an hour. And I thought it was fantastic. So especially if you get great quality knives, make sure they are sharpened. I vote for at least once a year, but if you are cooking a lot, you could even do twice a year. This next item, you may come at me and say it's not essential. You may tell me I'm crazy, but the next item is jars. You need quality jars. Now, These are Le Parfait jars, and honestly, I think they're pricey. However, they are worth it. These jars, I mean, people sell these at like vintage stores and stuff. Le Parfait has been in business forever. And there's this little rubber seal, and they're glass with the metal ring. So this is great for storage, but you could also make something like pickles, like fridge pickles or something. I'm gonna be making fire cider soon, so that's gonna go in one of these jars for 6 weeks. These are great for storage and for prep and for cooking and for all the things to help you with your cooking journey. Right now I'm cultivating a sourdough starter that I'm really excited about, and I have 2 of this size of jar, and I'm switching out using these for the sourdough starter. These jars are extremely helpful, and if you are a Costco member, they have this set right now at Costco, and it is $25. It is a screaming deal. Now, I do have a link below for a set of 4 Le Parfait jars. I thought they were at a good price. However, if you are a Costco member, go grab this set of 4. I thought it was a great deal. I'm just checking on my tea. Here's how it looks. It's been brewing for a few minutes. For this tea blend, we don't want to brew it any more than 10, let's say 15 minutes, because lavender can get kind of bitter if it's brewed for too long. So this one, it's not like sun tea. We're not going to leave it out all day. We are just going to brew it until it looks the color that we like, until it's the strength that we like, and then we're going to strain it. The next kitchen essential is a scale. Now, I went without a scale for a really long time, but let me tell you, if you're going to be doing a lot of baking, it's far more precise to weigh everything. In addition to that, with the tea blends that I come up with, I weigh everything, because that way it tastes the same every time. So if you're thinking that this may not be totally essential for you, it could be, but especially if you're trying to follow a recipe entirely, or if you're going to be doing a lot of baking in the future, it could be really helpful to get one of these, just so you know exactly how much of whatever item you already have in your recipe. So this is just a more efficient way to go. So here's the lowdown with cast iron. So cast iron pans are actually, they've been around forever and a day. You see like old Westerns, there's some old dude who has his cast iron pan strapped to his mule or something. But let me tell you, cast iron's been around for a really long time. It's amazing. The great thing about these pans is they cook extraordinarily well, and they cook evenly. So for my steak class, we're gonna be using this pan because it provides a great crust on your steak every time, because it can get super hot. Now, some people are like, cast iron, it's not good for you, and blah, blah, blah. I think it's better for you than Teflon. I think it's better for you than some of these really cheap pans that when I tell you that sometimes the lining starts peeling, or I didn't know it had a lining until it started peeling off. That's happened to me several times with different pans. Your cast iron is not going to do that. Now, sometimes they will rust, so you have to take care of them, and I'll talk about that in another video. But even if it rusts, you can get rid of the rust. It's not lost forever. That's the thing that's super cool about cast iron. You can use cast iron for so many different things. So for this pan, this is a 12-inch Lodge, and my oldest son used it to make a cake, an upside down pineapple cake, the other day. And I saw that he was putting it into the pan. I didn't really say anything because I had just finished washing it and seasoning it, and it was all good to go. But then I thought to myself, I've never baked a cake in a cast iron pan. How's it gonna turn out? And let me tell you, it turned out great. It was cooked perfectly. It was done in the middle. And so don't be afraid to use your cast iron for other things other than, chicken and steak. It works fantastically well, and that's why people have been using them for so long. Okay, last up on the list is a high quality salt. I use this Redmond real salt, and you can get it in a giant bucket like this if you're going to use a lot of salt, or if you're going to do a lot of pickling or canning. So it has great minerals in there, and it is mined in Utah. So it's in the United States, you're supporting an American company, and there's great benefits to using that salt. They also have electrolyte mixes and stuff like that I think are really cool. Another option is Celtic salt. And Celtic salt is another great salt that I like to use. I use them at different times. Celtic salt is more like a finishing salt. If you're going to use some salt in your cooking itself, I'd like to use the Redmond real salt. So whether you're using the Celtic salt or the Redmond, both are great options, and they are that high quality salt that has all the good minerals and none of the junky stuff. And I'm gonna give you a bonus or two, okay? There's 2 items I was thinking of that would be a good bonus. One, labels. Now, the reason that you need labels, I bottled some some vanilla this morning. These are just vanilla beans. I get the organic vanilla beans from Costco. This needs to get happy. Like 6 weeks, it'll be ready and it will look like regular vanilla. But I did a couple of these bottles. If you're gonna be doing stuff like that where you're making a ferment, you're making a, like I mentioned, fridge pickles, if you're making something. Right now I'm getting into making extracts. Like right now I have a peppermint extract that's getting all happy. You need to label, and these labels are great. I found they come off with little sticky residue that is left, so that's great. And they have all these fun shapes, and they're just brown craft labels, so they're nothing really special, but it helps me to stay organized. And last but not least, you need fresh herbs. So buying herbs now at the grocery store can be extremely expensive. I was in Southern California for a couple weeks in June, and my stepmom started to feel not well. And I made for her something I call my witch's brew. And that is on my website, on the blog. You can find the recipe for the witch's brew. It has different herbs and essentially boiled with water and citrus and cinnamon and things that are going to support your immune system. So I make things like this to help with those times where it's like, gee, I'm starting to get sick or I don't feel good. I noticed at the grocery store in Orange County that thyme was $10 a bunch, which is crazy because I have thyme growing in my yard right now, and I have spent probably $5 on each plant. I have 2 different plants, probably, $5 on each plant in total, so less than $10, and I harvest it every couple weeks, and I continue to get more thyme, but it's $10 at the grocery store. So if you have a way of getting fresh herbs that are a little bit cheaper than the grocery store, that is the way to go. Okay, I think this is good for me. For some people, they want it brewed stronger, and if that's you, then use more tea. I did put a little bit of honey in this jar, and I'm gonna put this in my fridge and let it cool. But that is really good. That's delicious. So those are my kitchen essentials. Let me tell you guys, I feel like these things make my life a little bit easier. You'll notice I didn't put a KitchenAid mixer. I didn't put a food processor. I didn't put other things that seem super fancy that a lot of people would say, I can't live without my XYZ. I didn't put that in this video. And that's because, especially if you're first starting out in your cooking journey, you're probably not gonna have a food processor. You're not gonna have, a lot of other things, but having good quality knives is super helpful. Having good quality utensils, cutting boards, like that is stuff that is really the basics. And so I wanna make sure I share those with you, just so you know that you don't need all of the super duper fancy things to start on your journey of cooking and to also enjoy your time in the kitchen. So I think this is where we think that we need all of this fancy stuff. We really don't. The fine line is it gonna make my life easier? And if not, I can leave it. All right, friends, that's it for me today. I'm putting the information below on the Tea of the Month Club, as well as Victoria's Kitchen, the cooking club, where we're gonna be making some amazing food together. So make sure you sign up for those, and I will see you in my next video.